Hello and welcome back. Today we are thinking about a case study. So we're looking at glacial features in the Lake District today. So let's get going. So as always, we start with the specification, and this is where this lesson comes from. It's looking at an example of an upland area in the UK affected by glaciation, identifying its major landforms, erosion, deposition, and then an overview of the economic activities, so tourism, farming, forestry and quarrying. So, glacial landforms in the Lake District. The Lake District is one of many upland areas that were previously glaciated, so we looked at this in lesson 1. Scafell Pike in the Lake District is England's highest mountain and lies within the Lake District. Scafell Pike is 3,209 feet compared to Snowdon as the highest mountain in Wales and then Ben Nevis in Scotland. So firstly, please can you describe the location of the Lake District? Pause this video, write it down and then press play again. The Lake District is a region and a national park in Cumbria found in the northwest of England. So you can write this subheading for me please. So some glacial features in the Lake District. Your first task is to name 3 different ribbon lakes in the Lake District. We'll have looked at this last lesson with glacial deposition and how that has formed, erosion has led to the formation of these ribbon lakes. So I would like you to name 3. You might have already heard of these before, so Buttermere Lake, Thirlmere Lake, Windermere, Ullswater you might have heard of. These are all what we call ribbon lakes in the Lake District. There are plenty more glacial features in the Lake District too. The Lake District is famous for its ribbon lakes and mountains. The region contains numerous examples of corries, tarns and arêtes. The mountain Helvellyn is home to several glacial landforms, the first of which is Striding Edge. So looking at this picture and this map in front of you, this is where Striding Edge is. Can you identify what landform this is for me please? Nextly, this is Red Tarn. This is a lake that is formed in a corrie on the side of a mountain. This image shows Red Tarn from the north. So what kind of feature is this? Looking again at the map here, so Striding Edge is going around the side. There's something else happening around this other side. So what is this feature here? Look at the contour lines and what is Striding Edge. Next, what is this? This is Grisdale. There are 2 glacial features here. What are they? So you need to look at this picture a little bit more here. So what can you see going on here? What kind of glacial feature is this? And then also you want to look up here. What glacial feature is that? Next, the Lake District gained its name from the large number of ribbon lakes in the region. Ribbon lakes often occupy deep glacial troughs. The image below here shows Lake Windermere, which is the largest ribbon lake in the Lake District and the largest natural lake in England. So if you can see this, this is the town of Ambleside, this is the town of Windermere, this is Bowness on Windermere, and you can see the ribbon lake the whole way down this glacial valley. So settlements have grown around the Lake District due to its natural beauty and its extensive economic activity. So looking at this map here, what do you notice about where the settlements in the Lake District are? So you've obviously got Lake Windermere here, and these are the settlements we're talking about. What do you notice about where they are? Think about land, think about access to these ribbon lakes. Let me move my picture. So settlements are usually developed in the dry and flat sections of the valleys area, U-shaped wide valleys. An example is Keswick, which we found up here, situated on the floor of a glacial trough. The river in Derwent now flows into it, which is why the lake in Keswick is called Derwent Water. Think about the reasons early settlers might have chosen to live in these sites and note them down for me. Okay, so what economic opportunities do glacial uplands provide? Can you please copy this table down? And for each opportunity, you need to explain what it is, why it's in a glacial area, and how that is an ideal location, and then the advantages or disadvantages of each of these opportunities, which could be great for answering a 6 or a 9 mark question. So we're going to go through farming in upland areas and lowland areas. We're looking at forestry in upland areas, quarrying, 2 different kinds of tourism, wind farms and hydroelectric power. So our economic opportunities. You might be able to identify what some of these are already, but we will come back to them one by one. These are all our economic opportunities. Farming, forestry, quarrying and tourism. So electricity production produces wind farms so that we can get solar or wind energy from them, converting that kinetic energy from the spinning of the turbine from the wind to electricity. And then hydroelectric power. So again, very similar. Water flows through a turbine, which makes it spin, and so we get electricity from that too. So you can fill in this table. This one is done for you. So our hydroelectric power is creating electricity from water, allowing water to drop long distances onto turbines to make them turn, and we get electricity for them. Why are these good in glaciated areas? This is because of the steep slopes and our hanging valleys, if you remember from our glacial erosion lesson, to create large heads of water to generate maximum power. So if you're at an angle and it's going quickly, you're getting more energy than it would be if it was down a gentle slope. The advantages is it provides renewable electricity and it's non-polluting. However, the disadvantages, you may need to create reservoirs which cover farmland and villages, unsightly pipes and often turbine buildings too. Often, glaciated areas are well away from electricity consumers, often in large towns, so pylons have to be built to carry the electricity back. Next, we're going to choose 2 different types of tourism. You can use any of these suggestions or any others that you think. So, why might an afternoon tea in the Lake District? What is it? How does it get tourists there? Why do we use glaciated areas for this? The advantages and the disadvantages. You might want to think about mountain biking and how that might damage footpaths. Swimming, open water swimming in the lakes. This is, I've forgotten the name for it, like diving and flying across the valleys in the Lake District. Zip World is also in the Lake District. Hiking, climbing, or leisurely walks, or even water sports activities as well. So choose 2 of them. Pause this video, fill it in, and then we'll move on. Okay, next we have upland farming. So farming in glacial upland areas is often used for pastoral farming. So where animals are reared, such as cows for their meat, sheep for their wool, etc., or for their lamb meat. The upper slopes of the Lake District are ideal for sheep farming. The upland areas affected by glaciation are challenging environments for any other economic activity. Farming crops is difficult due to the steep slopes as the water just runs down, and so the soil at the top of the hills often is a lot drier, leading to thin, infertile soils, lower temperatures and heavy rainfall due to relief rainfall. However, extensive farming, such as sheep farming, is well suited to these environments because sheep can live on these mountainsides. Extensive agriculture, such as animal grazing, is also well suited to glacial upland areas. Some landowners have recently introduced deer due to the growing popularity of venison meat. And then our lowland farming. In the lower valley bottoms, there may be some crop farming going on because it's flatter and so the moisture in the soil stays there. The lower slopes of glaciated areas are also suitable for dairy and beef farming. And the U-shaped valley bottoms are suitable for growing some fodder crops, such as hay, which is used as animal feed. When we talk about fodder crops, it's crops that are used to feed animals. So, pause the video for a minute, fill in your table for upland and lowland farming, please. Next, we have forestry. Forestry in glaciated areas are often covered in woodland and coniferous forests. These forests may be logged to provide materials, so chopped down to provide wood. Forestry also provides a lot of employment and contributes significantly to the economy in this area. Many upland areas have been planted with pine, which is a coniferous tree, which grow relatively quickly and can be harvested often. This gives landowners and farmers a source of money other than farming, which is less reliable, especially as there is this push towards veganism, and so a lot of farmers are struggling because financially they're not getting as much money from the sale of meat. About 2 million hectares of coniferous forest exist in the UK, and the Forestry Commission manage a lot of that. Much of the UK's forestry is said to be sustainable, as felled areas are often replanted, and our forest cover has actually increased in recent decades, despite so many of these trees being chopped down for materials. This wood can be used in construction, furniture, and increasingly as fuel for people, as biofuel to burn in their homes. Forestry also creates new wildlife habitats, protecting the local environment and creating jobs. So fill this in for me. Think about the stores of carbon, what happens when they're burnt, but also the replanting of these trees, wildlife habitats, local environment, jobs for your advantages. Then we have quarrying. Quarrying in glaciated areas provides a valuable source of rocks and minerals. So in the Lake District, if you've ever been, you might have been to the Honister Pass, at which the top there is a slate mine. Glaciated landscapes provide easy access for quarrying because at the side of the hill, they don't have to go the whole way through as if they would or down. They can just get in halfway through. And so many quarries are located in this area. Natural resources are extracted from upland glaciated areas, such as stone and mineral wildfire quarrying. A quarry is basically an area of land that we dig out, then we can use and get the material from it. The Lake District has a very long history of mining and quarrying over a very wide area, for minerals such as lead, copper, graphite and coal. Slate mining and quarrying still take place, as I've said, the Honister Pass, providing building materials for dwellings where people live. Slate is also used extensively as a roofing material across the UK. Granite from the Highlands of Scotland is also quarried, which some people use as worktops in their kitchens, and can be used as pavement materials or even for kitchen work surfaces, because it's so hard wearing. This ranges from mining and quarrying local stone for the main industry of tourism and recreation. Upland areas rarely attract factories and modern industries, so extractive industries, so taking things from the land, are more common. Slate is quarried in the Lake District from 10 quarries, one of them being Coniston Slate, making use of the natural resources. The area has much to offer, and the proximity to the motorway, the M6, makes transport of bulky slate product much more efficient. And then finally, tourism. Tourism is a major income source in Wales, Scotland and the Lake District. People visit these places to enjoy the beautiful landscape created by glaciation. This environment is popular with tourists because it provides opportunities for walking, sailing, kayaking, cycling. Small farms used to be the main form of employment in the Lake District, but the number of farms has fallen significantly, with the Lake District being sold for housing and tourism, with the land in the Lake District being sold for housing and tourism. 11% of those who live in the Lake District and work in the Lake District are employed in farming, and it has given farmers opportunities to diversify, so focus on different things rather than just on sheep farming or cattle farming, for example. Instead of having to rely on that, they've been able to diversify for 80% of their income, which is really good. Tourism is still one of the main employers in the Lake District of both social and economic opportunities. However, increased car ownership and the opening of the M6 motorway means that 10 million people are now within just a 3-hour drive of the Lake District. Tourists are attracted by the unique and varied scenery, especially the ribbon lakes and the high peaks. Tourism has become important with the decline of traditional industries. It has kept some services like schools and shops in the local area and has brought in leisure centres, which also benefits the local people. Estimates suggest that in some areas, such as Windermere, more than 50% of the active population are employed in the tourist industry. Many other jobs are also supported indirectly through various builders of houses for tourists and estate agents. Okay, we have a few more left. So wind turbines at Kirkstone Pass. This is one of the Lake District's most remote and beautiful valleys. The Lake District National Park Authority granted permission for 3 16-metre wind turbines in 2011. The project was completed in April 2012 at a cost of £150,000. The turbines provide power to the Kirkstone Pass Inn, which had relied on diesel generators for heat and light. Despite opposition to the turbines, local groups like the Friends of the Lake District supported the scheme. They argued that turning to green power was good for the environment and helped to secure the future of the pub and its employees. Okay, so I'm going to give you a moment to fill in that table, pause the video, and then I will present to you some exam questions that you can go away and answer in your own time. So this picture on the left is a photograph showing tourist activity in Snowdonia. So your 4-mark question is to suggest how tourism might put pressure on the physical environment shown in these figures. So pause the video, write that down, and answer that question for me as a summary of everything you might have learned. So that is the end of this video. I hope it's been useful. It's been a very quick whistle-stop tour through tourism in the Lake District and the economic opportunities that arise there. So I hope it's been useful, and I will see you next time for the next one.